Good morning, guys. How are we all doing? I am Dan from Trading with Dan. This is our Bitcoin morning update. So if you guys wouldn't mind smashing that like button, we shall go straight over to those Bitcoin 4-hour charts. So we still find ourselves above this old resistance, new support area, probably the most important resistance area that we needed to get back above after all this price action below it. This one is where we kind of get back into this area here, and if we are lucky and we're not in some sort of a bull trap, can grind out this area for a little bit between here and 52,000 before ultimately breaking onwards and upwards to new all-time highs. This is pretty much the first area where we could, where it is likely, where it is reasonable for us to get a bull trap and then send us straight down to new lows on this move down. And then obviously the second area is this one here. Anywhere above obviously this horizontal area here, we'll just extend this along. Then on the balance of probabilities, you have to expect new all-time highs. New all-time highs for Bitcoin. Let's just extend that. There we go. Just store that out. Yeah, that'll do. But yeah, we are in this zone, in the first test. So if we have to trade sideways in this area for a bit, that will clearly be what we want. If we are to lose this area, and I'd probably say lose 46,000. Then yeah, we have to realistically be looking at potentially a move down to 42, and then we have to kind of hold our breath there, because we don't want to be losing that trend line basically. Things are looking good though overall in Finance 1.0. What we're currently having is one of the most hated rallies of all time. Everybody is bearish. Just all finance professionals, they're just like, this is the bear market rally, this is the bear market rally, and it could very well be a bear market rally, but yeah, this market is definitely is happening with a lot of bearish sentiment. People thinking that this just has to then tank and go on to new lows. There's all the worries about basically everything. There's like the whole of Finance 1.0 seems to be massively overly bullish on commodities and inflation and all that stuff. And then all I'll say is that they are smart guys and they have got a very valid point and very valid reasonings, but when the market just all ends up on one side of a trade, then it clearly always goes the opposite direction ultimately, because there's no more buyers left, is there, for that trade if everyone's already long. So yeah, but S&P though, look at it, back above this area into this 46 to 4700 dollar area. It is amazing to see. You can see why Finance 1.0 is hating life at the moment. No real opportunities for them to have shorted this. It's just no real opportunity for them to necessarily get in, other than to just basically market buy. And we're just onwards and, figuratively speaking, market buy. They can obviously put in bids and get filled, but yeah, just onwards and upwards. No decent pullbacks for them to buy. If we also have a look, that DXY that we were looking at, bouncing, paychecking off this trend line, what it did was it broke through. So then obviously we saw the acceleration to the downside that you'd expect with a swing failure above an important level. So yeah, we got the downside, which is great to see. A pretty aggressive move down there once we got back below that trend line, and yeah, let's see if we can find ourselves down at this support area and potentially break it. So this is obviously good to see a weakening dollar. The 10-year also probably off the back of the weakening dollar easing off here, as you can see. So this could potentially be a top for the time being, and we could come back down. The ruble again that we looked at is, like we said, was looking good. Once it got back above here, was going to probably look good. This was an important level, and yeah, looking for a full retrace. Let's go the full retrace of the ruble, and yeah, there we go. I've heard there's all sorts of stuff going around about the ruble being backed by dollars, or the oil basically having to be paid for with dollars or with Bitcoin, all sorts of fun stuff. I mean, Russia has been de-dollarized. It has been preparing for this, and it has got like a few tricks under its sleeves. So we'll have to see how that pans out. Oil having a pullback and a bounce. This was just a speculative triangle we drew. It looks like we got it quite close there. Let's just move it a tad just to get it onto it, and then we'll move this one as well. But yeah. You can see, in fact, if we move it a little bit lower there, just so we join this sort of mid area. But yeah, you can see we'll just adjust that slightly. But you can get the point. A tightening formation here. I mean, ultimately, if we get we can probably adjust it even more. We probably just shouldn't we? Now we have more information. We completely drew this triangle on spec. So now we'll just adjust it now that we have more information, like true Bayesian inference model professionals. So yeah, there we go. There's our pennant for oil. Are we going to break up or break down? I mean, the guess, in my opinion, it's probably going to break down because it's just a bit overdone at the moment. And like I said, the whole of the world is long this. The whole of the world is hating the move up in stocks. It's a bit of a weird market at the moment. It is a bit of a strange market. Let's have a look at one of the most craziest ones that everyone. This is the one that people are hating on the most. NAZcoin. Look at it, right back above this resistance area and hitting into this trend line as well. I think obviously getting above this resistance was good enough, and we've massively cleared it. We've even cleared this level here. This level here, so we're above this whole price action here. Yeah, we're getting back up with this trend line. I mean, yeah, this is just looking a bit ridiculous, and yeah, what this could be signaling is that basically rates. Inflation has potentially topped out. I mean, we've had our potential Icarus prints in the commodities, and yeah, and they're going to ease off. Inflation obviously on a 12-month rolling basis of which it is calculated is gonna ease off, and then obviously our growth stocks, our basically tech, can go nuts again. I mean, and just look at it, it's only really got, I mean, there's not really much here for it to do other than get above this trend line, and then I mean, if we get back up to here, I mean, we're clearly going to new all-time highs, and well, there you go, just the trend is your friend. I mean, I've seen enough of these J hooks to know that you have this gradient, and then we have this gradient. Maybe the dollar does start to get whacked. I mean, I think the Fed is going to start doing all sorts of funky stuff, and that'll potentially whack the dollar, which could then potentially obviously give these a good lift. And this is clearly obviously why Bitcoin is doing well as well. It does trade a lot with tech stocks, so yeah. Just fun times. The Russell, even the Russell, look, the Russell is approaching back into its area, and back into its sort of sideways zone where it likes to basically reside. So if the Russell can get a bit more of a squeeze up as well, then yeah, get back into this area. Then yeah, that will at least turn this medium term, at least turn this neutral again, as opposed to bearish down here or bullish up here. Get back into the neutral zone for anyone that watches Star Trek. The Dow, we haven't really charted the Dow much, but as you can see, the Dow, this is only really the level we're at now again before it starts to look pretty good. So yeah, like I said, the most hated rally in equities. I mean, all I will say is that like during the dot-com bubble, during the dot-com bubble, the bursting of it, there were massive runs up in the NASDAQ during that. I mean, basically bear market rallies are the most violent rallies, and that is what the whole of Wall Street is thinking this is. The whole of Wall Street is like, this is the bear market rally, but I mean, you just look at the chart and it's come a bit too far, really. A bear market rally, realistically, you could draw a downward sloping trend line from here, and any bear market rally has to kind of get rejected there, and then that's all honky dory. But look, we've absolutely gone for it, so we're not really, even our horizontal areas are getting taken out. So yeah, interesting times, very interesting times. Like I said, I think we've got a golden pocket of opportunity for until between now and the end of towards the end of Q2, and then who knows what will carry on in the meantime. Inflation could subside. Supply chains could thaw. I do obviously understand we are very likely to have a food crisis, just because obviously that will be lagging obviously all the stuff that's going on at the moment. That will lag obviously with just with food takes time to grow, doesn't it? So it'll be like how much gets planted and then how much fertilizer can be afforded to obviously have a decent yield. And then obviously later on down the line that will filter through for prices. So we've clearly got a food price shock, and people are talking about it, but not too much, because obviously people don't want self-fulfilling prophecies. But it wouldn't be the worst thing for these food price futures to get driven up, because then obviously the producers can then obviously lock in those prices and then potentially afford to plant, basically afford their fertilizer and their labor and their fuel and everything. We've had ourselves a 97 handle on the dollar. Nice to see there. Let's look at some more crypto stuff anyway. So Ethereum still battling with this resistance area. So Ethereum could obviously get rejected here, come down, but if it does establish back into this range, then I mean it's difficult not to see new all-time highs. The Ethereum Satoshi pairing also, if we look here, still kind of hovering around this area. Wanting to obviously get acceleration up to here, but not quite managing it at the moment. So if we do get a bit of a pullback, a bit of risk off, yeah, potentially this will ease back off, but we'll have to see what happens there. Anything else we want to look at on here? We've been over a lot of it, so not particularly. So yeah, let's look at stochastics. I think we're realistically just looking for these medium time frames to bullishly reset, pull back, and then give us another leg up. We know the higher time frames are not looking so bad. 4 hour is obviously going to weigh on price action here. 10 hour is ultimately looking like it's gonna try and have a bullish reset, probably drag price down with it a little bit, or at least sideways. Similarly with the 12 hour and similarly with the daily. So by daily though, obviously not looking too bad. 3-day, 5. I mean, we know these are all looking really good. But yeah, it's these medium time frames that could potentially see us get back at, even if we just carry on trading around this area, but obviously we know that's not realistic, like how crypto likes to work. But yeah, even if like the most bullish cases, we hold around 46,000 and we just chop sideways, maybe with some moves upwards in the meantime, predicated off these higher time frame stochastics. But I mean, realistically, we could be looking at 44 or 42. For a nice pullback after everyone's getting a bit excited. Stock market's potentially due a pullback. Obviously, dollar index moving down pretty aggressively as well, so that may have a little bounce, especially if it gets down to this area here. You'd have to expect a decent bounce here. So yeah, maybe we are going to see a bit of sideways. Sideways to down over the next few days. Obviously, unless we do get basically a break back above 48,000, and then yeah, we should see up towards 50,000 at that point. Another $2,000 on that. Not even very far away from price action. But yeah, obviously it's a bit extended. Stock market's a bit extended. Dollar index getting whacked. I mean, we are due a substantial pullback, and there will be people looking to enter risk assets on this next pullback. People that feel like the market's probably run away with them at the moment. So yeah, there we go, guys. Remember, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Always do your own research, and I shall speak to you guys soon.